there, and welcome to Chatterbox, the show where talk is cheap and the conversation never stops, bitch. I'm your host, Becca.
And this is your co-host, Kyla.
And every week we'll be bringing you stories and talking about the voices that shape the world around us, and with the right mix of insight and humor and a whole lot of chatter. If you're here for big ideas and bold opinions, then sit back and plug in. This is Chatterbox. So our topic today, our deep dive, is the case of Jeanette DePalma. So we are going to be reviewing the book Death on the Devil's Teeth, written by Jesse Pollock. And this book is about the comprehensive lore about the case, giving witness accounts. Jesse does not hold back when giving info about this case, so neither will we. So we're going to tell you exactly what happened, and we're also going to discuss the why. So the book opens with a chilling scene, and it's saying in September of 2002, hell is empty and all of the devils are here. And this quote sets the tone for the investigation into the murder of Jeanette DePalma. And in 2002, Jesse Pollock and Mark Moran revisit the decades-old case, which is still a cold case, uncovering new leads and questioning long-held beliefs about the crime. On September 19th of 1972, patrolman Donald Schwert began his day like any other, but his routine was disrupted when a dog brought a human arm to an apartment complex.
Oh my god. It kind of reminds me of, what is it? Pet Cemetery for some reason. I don't know why. But it was just like a corpsey arm, even though it's a person arm. Coming from, I don't know, it wasn't a grave, but it was just creepy, a corpsey body.
I
Imagine a dog bringing it to your apartment complex.
I would freak out. I would freak out. Apparently, they say that the woman who had, like, the dog outside, like, sees the arm coming back and just screams so loud. Like, the whole apartment complex heard this.
The fact that there was apartment complexes, I know it was, like, not that long ago, but still. I'm like, oh.
Oh,
what?
in 1972, yeah.
I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's normal.
Yeah, 1972. After further investigation, it was determined that it was a Dalmatian from the apartment complex that had brought the arm back, and the discovery set off a chain of events that was leading to the identification of a body. The search for the rest of the remains intensifies as Chief of Police organizes a search party, including bloodhounds from the Ocean County Sheriff's Office. The team combs through the area, and by team, I mean like 4 people. That was the team that went out searching for Jeanette in 1972. They had like a search party. The search party was like literally 4 people because this was like a small town in New Jersey.
Well, if that area was an abandoned town, then it's like, are they going to even think about going over there?
I mean, there was like an abandoned swim club near there. But
It said that the Springfield town was like, no one lived there.
I heard it was a small town, but I guess I didn't look up, I guess, like, pictures of the town.
It was just like a neighboring town that was very ghost-like, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of abandoned stuff there. Sorry, I didn't know where it was.
Oh, I just threw her off track.
This is Chatterbox.
That's what I'm good for.
You're good for throwing me on track, bitch.
I do both, bitch. You're like, bitch.
This is what Ed Cardinal, a 7-year veteran of the Springfield Volunteer Fire Department, had to say about the Devil's Teeth. And the Devil's Teeth is where Jeanette's body was found. So the Devil's Teeth originally is located in what is known as Springfield, New Jersey. And the Devil's Teeth was originally known as the Devil's Skull back in 1920. And Ed Cardinal goes on to say, when my dad was a kid, he told me about an old dirt road that extended from the summit, and there was a hill on Shunapike Road, over what is now Route 78.
It's crazy all the changes they've made with roads. To like look at pictures like of Cincinnati in the museum of what it used to look like before all the buildings. It's just like an old western town or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so cool. There's just so many changes that have happened, and I don't know, Back to the Future comes to mind, and that'd be cool to like go see it.
I would say, this is the weirdest intrusive thought that I have about roads. I feel like I always think this when I start thinking about, why do we have all these, paved roads? Like, what are they supposed to do? And I remember back in, 6th grade, my teacher would, always preach this for some reason. It was, the most random thing. And he was like, you know why they make roads, right? They make roads for the military. So if there's, an invasion that, the military has an upper hand because, they know, we have access to all of our maps of what the roads look like and stuff. And I was just always like, what the fuck? Isn't it so random?
But they know just as much as we know, so what is their upper hand?
I think of that shit randomly and I'm just my 6th grade teacher comes on my brain sometimes and it's like...
6th grade teacher.
No, I love him.
I'm just kidding.
I love him. He was a nice old man.
I'm just joking. Maybe if you had you and he and you had sarcasm, you would understand.
It's too early for this.
No, it's not. It's 1:30 in the afternoon.
Too early for me.
Whatever time we are. What are we? Central Pacific? Eastern Pacific time. I knew that we weren't those other ones. That's why I was saying, which one are we?
I'm too tired. from our earlier activity.
Coffee. Her earlier
coffee.
Activity was not drinking a coffee and only having a water.
I did not have coffee today.
I did, and I need another one.
I have regrets.
No regrets.
I do have regrets. Bitch. That was water. Scary Terry up in this bitch.
Oh my god.
I actually watched that episode the other day just because you kept calling me Scary Terry last week.
Did you hear him say it? Do you see what I'm talking about?
He ended every sentence.
That's because that's Scary Terry. Bitch.
Which episode of Rick and Morty was that? Do you know? Which episode of Rick and Morty was Scary Terry?
By the way, do you watch Rick and Morty? Do you even know what Rick and Morty is?
Are you old enough to know what Rick and Morty is?
I think people know it, even if they're not old enough to hope. Because it's on, because Adult Swim is something else before it's Adult Swim, right? You know how it changes from,
yeah.
It's Cartoon Network to Adult Swim, so kids are still on there, and they're like, what the fuck is this shit? But it's funny. Rick is funny.
I love Rick and Morty. I feel like I overwatched it, because now I feel like I know every episode. Except for the new seasons.
I'm not seeing any of the new seasons.
Not the last 2 seasons. I would need to watch them a lot more, but...
Me too. I don't know why I fell off, even though I was excited for them.
You should watch them. What the fuck?
I can't commit.
Commit. It's worth
I take
it.
too many naps after work from overstimulation.
I've been doing that too, and it's not been good for me, because I know the second I sit down after I'm getting off work, I'm like, if I sit down and I get comfortable, I'm not good.
And that's what happens to me. That's why I take my 3-hour nap. But then I wake up and I'll be up till 12 and I'm good. Make dinner, clean a little bit. I feel revived.
I can't.
Girl, I was cleaning I think at 3 a.m. last. I'm such a weirdo.
Oh my god.
But because I woke up and I was just
cleaning at 3 in the morning?
Literally, just picking up a little bit. Doing stuff.
Damn. That's crazy.
Lost my teeth. Chop's like, why do you do that? I'm like, well,
it's my life.
I'm doing it. At least I'm doing it. And giving my gums a couple hours. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Blah, 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 blah.
Alright. Back to Jeanette.
You can just take that off if you want.
Maybe later. But fireman Don Stewart actually ascended up to where the detectives were on top of the Devil's Teeth when Jeanette was discovered. And it is also noted that fireman Don Stewart, 1 year after, decided to end his life by
oh my god.
by end of lifing himself. Sorry, let me re-say this because I'm sorry. There's certain words I can't say on TikTok Live, and for those of my YouTube listeners, we're doing a TikTok Live as we are recording. So if you hear me addressing a camera, there is actually a camera in here. So, restarting. Fireman Don Stewart ascended to the top of the Devil's Teeth where the detectives were and viewed Jeanette's body. A year later, he end of lifed himself, and he did this while being surrounded by all of his fellow firefighters and other police officers who he had worked with for many years, begging him to stop. And this is also what is known as the DePalma curse. So the day that Jeanette's body was found, the chief of the fire department quit and began to work as a janitor at a local school, began drinking heavily, and divorced his wife. Another fellow firefighter took a leave of absence for mental rehabilitation, while another firefighter left the department without giving any notice. And Ed Cardinal, one of the witnesses, recounts that people kind of viewed this as a bad luck type of thing, which is entirely possible. But why was there bad luck associated? We will get into that. Dr. Ehrenberg is the doctor who examined Jeanette's body and noted that there was no apparent cause of death. The failure of the doctor to determine the cause of death was on the fault that he was not a trained pathologist. He was only a physician. So he got the job of running a morgue by political appointment. And this was back in 1972 when things were not run as correctly as, well, actually, they weren't run, the ship was not run tight as it is now. Now you go to a hospital and like most hospitals like have their shit together. You know what I mean? In America, anyways. I would say most of them.
In America, anyway.
Well, I mean, God, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't trust going to a hospital in Mexico or something like that.
Hey, you never know. Some people be going out of country to hospitals because fuck American hospitals. Sorry, allegedly.
Well, some of them, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like if I was like in like Mexico or something, like I wouldn't be so apt to like go to a hospital there. You know what I mean? Like, this is so off topic. What the fuck?
Yeah, what made you think of this?
No, what the fuck? We're talking about doctors and physicians.
Oh, see, you did it. I do it too. Hey, not
This is Chatterbox.
She go off the topic. Not only do I go off topic.
Bear with us. We're just
like bear, get it? Hey. Oh my
bear
God.
with us, right?
And then here's another thing. I need to get bear spray. You go ahead.
No, but I do need to get some. Holy shit.
Dang it, girl. I'm like, by the way, speaking of bears, my ass needs some bear spray because we're gonna be out in bear territory.
Yeah,
bear country.
We're both going to Montana, but at
I'm going
times.
to Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, bitch.
When?
All surrounding each other, so I'm gonna be in between all the states.
I didn't know that. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, well,
I don't research my shit like that. I just kind of go on my trips and just fucking.
well, then you're missing out probably on very key point places because you're not thinking about it.
I'm just living. I'm in the moment.
I'm living too. But I'm seeing everything and I'm getting up the fuck early and I'm avoiding everybody. And I beat the crowds. I was even telling my friends, I said, we're getting up early. We're beating all these motherfuckers. Like, just like when I went to see Kilauea and the volcano eruption. I beat the crowd. And I was just there 30 minutes was it that eruption like that. Maybe 20, 15. That spica moment. Because we were there early. Like before anyone was there was no line at the park. And then when we were leaving, when we were done, a line.
We didn't really have issues like that when we were on our honeymoon, and I didn't research shit, really. I was just like, I just want to see this place, I want to see this place, I want to see this place,
Well,
and it all just fucking worked out.
Well, you've seen the places, and that's all that matters. Each park is different, though. Like, I didn't have to plan as much with, like, Acadia. Like, I just knew the places I wanted to see, and they were all generally around each other. But Yellowstone is huge.
Oh, yeah. It's a huge surface
Like, you
area.
can't, like, Acadia, I could just drive to Raven's Nest in an hour or two and drive back.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge fucking surface
It's
area.
different.
Montana's fucking huge.
You need to stay.
It's like in a fucking time
It's
warp.
just smarter to stay in two parts because of driving, of wasting gas, driving time. You're wasting more time driving that much longer to just drive back.
When we go, because we're going to be seeing all 3 places, we're going to be staying in 3 locations, and we're also going to be camping as well. So we're going to bring some camping gear, and we're gonna camp for a few days. Then we're going to stay in a hotel for a few days, and then we're going to go back to camping at a new place, and then we're going to stay in a hotel at the next place, and then we're going to kind of rotate on and off the whole time. Because I want the experience of like being in the fucking woods and just, you know, living.
I love it.
I'm scared, but I'm gonna do it.
I think getting 3 places would be smart for us because we're just going to Grand Teton for one day, so.
Yeah, because we're staying there for like, I think like 9 or 10 days total.
Been like 3 days at each place or something.
Yeah, we'll see, honestly. I still have to do all my research today, so who knows, my plans could change while I get into all of it.
Yeah,
Talking
girl.
with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT knows.
She'd rather ask that than someone who does like research like me.
I love talking to ChatGPT.
She don't love to talk to me. I have literally.
I call you and you don't answer, bitch.
Yes, I do.
Not all the time.
You don't call me.
I do be calling you.
I don't always.
During the week with no answer, and you're like, oh, I didn't see this until like the next day.
Exactly. There it is.
Yeah.
I didn't see.
You
Call me more than once, please. God, it's not my fault. My phone's annoying. I'm like, fuck. And where I call you back and you don't answer, because then it's like 8 o'clock and you're busy.
Oh my god, speaking of call, Eric did call me and I didn't fucking pick it up. And I forgot to answer his text. Don't do that without... You gotta pay for that. Don't... Kyla's putting her feet up in the camera and y'all didn't even pay up first. Like, what the fuck? Kyla fucking putting her... This is not Feet Finder. Back to Jeanette. Dr. Ehrenberg, who examined her body, noted that there was no apparent cause of death. The failure of the doctor to determine the cause of death was on the fault that he was not a trained pathologist, he was only a physician. Running the morgue by political appointment, which means that he was not competent enough to complete his side of the investigation, allegedly. He botched the autopsy of a high-profile murder case. And in 1972, forensic science was at its infancy, and Dr. Ehrenberg decided to send the body to the hospital to identify if there were possible wounds that start with an S, or there's other wounds such as bone fractures or maybe a bulletin, if you get my drift.
We need to really make keywords.
I do need to make keywords.
So when we do these things, it'll just be the same word every time for each word.
I do need to do this, yes.
But for our podcast.
Yeah, a bulletin. You know what I'm talking about.
For you guys to know.
So her remains were carefully swept up and taken to Elizabeth General Hospital, and the x-rays revealed that there were no bone fractures, there were no bulletin wounds or other wounds of any kind, and this frustrated the investigators because they had to go another route. Bulletin wounds.
Sorry, she got me there.
And they had to go another route to figure out what her cause of death was and how she got there in the first place. The dentist who actually viewed her body to determine whether or not it was her body is quoted saying, "There was no identifiable body to speak of. You can tell the t-shirt and jeans that she was wearing, and it was all dried up, but you couldn't tell if it was a male or female. The clothes were more identifiable than the body." So, interesting information to note. Ehrenberg did make one critical discovery, though, and that was her lead concentration in the body was 0.694 milligrams per liter. or milliliters per liter. I took this from the book. A blood lead concentration of 0.694 milligrams or higher is a significantly high level for a teenager, and slightly higher levels have been known to cause permanent brain damage and slightly higher levels have been known to cause lead poisoning, which Jeanette DePalma was not documented experiencing any type of lead poisoning at the time of her death or the weeks leading up to it. Jeanette's mother, Florence, did tell a newspaper reporter that she had a slight cold on the day that she vanished, but no other long-term ailments to speak of. So if she was experiencing lead poisoning, she would have not been able to successfully climb on top of a mountain, on top of a cliff in New Jersey, if she would have been, throwing up, maybe having seizures, having other physical ailments that is associated with lead poisoning. And one of the world's leading pathologists, which is Dr. Cyril Wecht, it's German, bitch, I can't say it.
We see it where?
Cyril
Wecht. I don't know.
Wecht.
Yeah, I don't know.
Said that lead could not be formed in a decomposing body post-mortem, not in a way that could have happened in that part of New Jersey. So the theory is maybe the lead was in the soil that she was laying on. But is this a fair assumption or is this a stretch? I don't know. Lead paint was banned in 1978. So it was 1972, so there was still lead paint everywhere. Which lead paint was actually found in our fucking house.
Yeah, lead paint was on the Tin Man. And
But poor Tin Man.
freaking, what is it? Wizard of Oz. All of those poor actors and actresses. Yeah, dude, he got lead poisoning in his body because, like, that silver color on his body was lead paint. And then the witch got the burns because of the stuff that was on her skin.
Oh my god.
And then Dorothy given pills to keep her going. And, I mean...
we have to do an episode on this.
All of that was just mass. Dude, they all... Whew, that movie was...
I did not know all of this. We need to... That's in my podcast list of things to talk about is the Wizard of Oz
the way
production.
That was like... So many people got hurt in that movie, or sick, or died, or just had a drug problem because they gave a little girl pills to keep her... or medicine.
Oh my god.
To keep her going. Judy Garland?
I did not know any of
That's why she had a problem.
Oh
and her mom was okay with it? Yes.
Oh my god.
Girl, yeah. I can't believe you didn't know any of that. Dude, it was so sad. The tin guy got, like, his skin. And then the witch lady got, like, burnt because it was, like, some type of, like, really caught on fire. She caught on fire or something.
I did not know this. I've never dived deep into
I never did.
Wizard of Oz. What the fuck?
I just looked it up. I don't know how I found it one day, and then I just seen it, and I read it.
You just went down that rabbit hole. I need to go down
I know stuff. I just know some things.
I just know some things.
I know something.
Kiki knows things.
Kiki knows something. I'm kidding. Oh wait, that's a little snippet.
Yeah, we're gonna be making YouTube shorts from this, so.
Or a little snippet of if we get the goal.
Back to Jeanette.
Jeanette, baby.
Rumors began to circulate during the investigation about the competency of the officers who were conducting the investigation. One wife of a retired Springfield police officer who was not identified because she asked to be anonymous said to the author of the book Death on the Devil's Teeth, recalls being told by her husband that after Jeanette's arm was found by the dog on Wilson Road, the arm was first brought back to the Springfield police station and placed in the break room refrigerator.
What?
Yes.
That's not ethical, right?
This was in 1972. So no, this was not ethical. Apparently they wrapped it in something. And
ew.
Yes.
Never want to put my food in there ever again.
Okay, well, listen to this, because I have a story about it. So, after that, while everyone was out in the quarry, so there was not a lot of police officers here. The search party was like 4 or 5 people searching for Jeanette. Meanwhile, there were other police officers, including a juvenile officer named Dell, who we will mention later. But this was the rumor that circulated through town at the time about the competency of the officers in Springfield. So, because the arm was placed in the refrigerator of the police, it was in the break room of where the police were working. Apparently, one of the officers thought it would be funny to put the arm on top of another policeman's lunch to scare him. She recalls this story with disgust, which when I read this, I had to read this multiple times.
I would literally be so mad.
And this rumor is a perfect example of how things can snowball out of control in the middle of an investigation. So, the arm being placed in the refrigerator was actually true, and it was because they needed it for further testing while the body was being searched for. It was true that an arm was placed in the break room refrigerator of the Springfield Police Department, because at the time, this was the only fridge in the police department, and they were not equipped with the necessary means to conduct the investigation with the right equipment.
Maybe they shouldn't have.
And they fucked up the investigation horribly. The police officers did. They mishandled this entirely, and we will get into those reasons. It's just hard to coordinate life when life never slows down.
Well, then maybe I need to make you slow the fuck down.
I wish I could, but I think it's just having a kid. I think that when
Girl, you didn't have a kid. Stop make that.
No, I'm not.
You were already go before that.
No, my life moves so much faster now. I think that having a kid seriously does make your life feel like it's going by faster.
But you already were. I mean, like, you're already busy. You were already busy.
Oh, no, I wasn't. I was not busy before him.
You were doing all kinds of stuff.
You
might not see it, but
I was not busy before.
You was.
I am way busier now.
You was, is, cuz, does, diz.
I can look back at my life 4 or 5 years ago and say I was absolutely not fucking busy until I am now. I am way busier now since I've had Walter than ever. Walter, my little baby man.
Octopus.
He's so cute.
I love using this.
My little redheaded child.
You're gonna have a redhead boy.
A little strawberry blonde boy. He's a little strawberry boy. Back to the arm thing. About the arm being placed in the refrigerator, which was true because they didn't have another refrigerator at the time. Del Tompkins was the juvenile officer who the other police officers did this to, and this was his version of the story. And he breaks it down like this. He said he was sitting down to eat his lunch, goes in the refrigerator, grabs his lunch, which was in like a lunchbox type thing. Apparently, the arm was sitting on top of the lunch, and he did not see it at all. He said that he wasn't even looking. He said he went in, reached in, grabbed his lunch, and just took it out. Didn't even see it. And then one of the officers came up and said, "Whoa, are you gonna eat that, Del? It was in there with a freaking arm, for Christ's sakes." Del replies, "I don't give a shit what it was in there with. I'm hungry." So that's where the story came from. No real prank was done because the prank didn't work. Del did not notice the arm.
So it just stayed in the fridge and fell off the top?
No, I mean, it was on a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, like, they put it on top of this guy's lunch, but he didn't see it. He just grabbed his lunch and then closed the fridge. He's like, I didn't look. So, very weird. I wonder if that fridge is still there. Would that be fucking weird in that police station if the fridge was still
Oh, they have to have had a new one if it was that old. Imagine how old that fridge is.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It'd be different if it was like 2010, but...
True, it's probably
70s
by now.
I want to see what a 70s fridge looks like. It's probably those round.
Oh, might have been. Oh my god. I didn't even think about this. I need to, like, put my
little light bulb right here. Ding!
Put my mind back in that place of 72. This ain't fucking 2000s.
Yeah, it's 2025, right? Yep. Yeah, 2025.
I saw the year somebody wrote on a paper like expires 2027 or something, and it really hit me the other day, and I was like, damn, that really is just a few years away, and it just feels like it's so far away. But we're already like mid-year.
I know.
We're already mid-year. How is that possible?
I know. I just bought something yesterday, and they're like, this person's like, sorry, we're still in the Halloween bags. I'm like, damn, you're thinking like you must not sell anything. You still got them from October.
Oh my
You might as well
God.
just save them for October. We got a new set for summer.
That's fucking nuts. I'm over it.
Do you want to see what I got? From where? That little festival I went to. See the bag? They're little wooden earrings.
Oh, that's cute.
Here, I'll show you guys. These wooden earrings. Not that it matters. But I got them for my camping trip.
Cute. Very cute.
And then this is the Halloween bag.
That's cute.
Those festival markets they have in the summertime.
Yeah, that's cute.
I got a couple of things I'll show you later, but that was really all I wanted to show you now because of the. It was funny, like October.
Yeah, that's cute.
Full year that it's been they've had those bags.
It's fucking June. Well, back to Jeanette. Sorry. Jeanette was known as the Runaway. And why? Well, let's get into it. In the summer of 1972, Jeanette DePalma was a 16-year-old high school student living in Springfield Township in New Jersey. She was described to be a typical teenager who was known to occasionally smile. She had long brown hair, and she had a wardrobe that included bell-bottom jeans. She liked to wear a specific black leather type, like corduroy type jacket. It was like it was more of like a goth girl type look. She liked to dress in like darker colors.
But and I said she was a church girl.
She was a church girl, although she didn't want to be, allegedly. And Jeanette's family was known as a close-knit family, and Jeanette was born on August 3rd, 1956, which means she was a Leo, which also means that she was a fire sign. And fire signs are known for having personalities that are open to adventure while also being very opinionated, which is most of my other fire friends that I know. Sign of calling her out, Brett.
I don't have opinions.
Girl.
I don't like to go on adventures.
She's an adventurous girl.
I don't always have something to say.
Oh, hell yes. She do. This is so funny because when I was looking her up, I was like, August 3rd. August 3rd. I'm like, what is that? I didn't even know. I couldn't even guess. I need more Leo friends. I only have a few Leo friends. Are you a Leo or do you know a Leo?
Damn.
Tell us in the comments. I ain't talking shit.
You're just meant to find fire signs, bitch.
I guess so. Although I'm married to an earth sign.
Leo is a fire sign. You're not meant to find the Leo. You already have enough fire signs.
What do you mean?
Isn't a Leo a fire sign?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you already have enough fire signs, so you don't need a Leo friend because you already have other fire signs.
In my chart, yes. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm married to an earth sign and then I'm friends. But what is it? My moon is a fire sign, which is Aries. And my mom and my sister are both Aries, too. I know everybody's signs. I'd be, like, tracking all my friends and family, dude. If I know you, I'd be looking up your sign. That's just how I roll.
Should know.
Sorry, guys. Anyways, Jeanette was born to two Italian parents, and they lived in Jersey City. Their names were Florence and Salvatore. Probably not saying that right. But she was the sixth child in the family. Her youngest So, her youngest sister, Cynthia, was born after her. She had the reputation of being the party girl because she smoked a little of the devil's lettuce and she liked talking to boys. But
that makes you a bad person.
Well, this is what one of her classmates had to say about the situation. She said, I don't think it was wild. Almost all teenage girls were smoking some ganja here and there and talking to boys. It was just what we did. It was the culture of the 70s, which is very interesting to think about, the culture of the 70s. I really wonder what we're going to look back on in like 40 or 50 years on like what our culture is going to be considered.
Ours is going to be the worst. This whole generation.
Probably.
Like the 80s, 70s, funky, you know, groovy. And then you got 2000s, you got punk. And then after that, it's like...
What are we? We're the techie age, I guess.
Ew.
I know it's terrible.
Techno. But
Techno.
That's just copying.
I don't know. It's sad to think about what we're gonna be doing.
I guess I'll know in my old age.
I wish that I could go back to the 70s. That seems like such a more chill.
I'm an 80s girl.
I could totally. You're a material girl. Material girl, Madonna.
Oh, no, I'm like, listen to the Bees Knees, like, you know, and Rick James.
Oh my god, dude. I am Donna Summer for me. Donna Summer. Bring me back to the 70s where Donna Summer.
That's late 70s though.
She's the queen of
But
disco.
that's the late 70s.
But still.
That's why it's the 80s still. They consider her 80s.
I consider her 70s.
I consider her 80s. When I do, hey Alexa, play 80s music, Donna Summer plays. Alexa, shut up, don't listen to me. Alexa.
Don't! I just got reported for talking about the story on TikTok Live. So, I'm not endorsing doing this stuff. I'm just saying what happened because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. It's a chat interview about...
Called MJ.
Jesus Christ. TikTok's ridiculous. Anyway. So, Jeanette had I guess... She had this persona as a party girl. Although she was really just smoking the MJ and kissing boys in the back seats of cars, which is pretty normal for any teenager, to be honest. Her older sisters, though, were known to be promiscuous, which then began to rumor after her death that maybe her own promiscuity had led to her death. Which, is that possible? I would say, honestly, I don't see that at all in this case. And Jeanette's closest friend said that she did have a crush on an Italian guy, and they would occasionally meet up and make out in the backseat of his car or whatever. And Cindy, not Sydney, sorry, that's different. Cindy, her older sister, said that the police officer's memory of her daughters, my Jesus.
Cindy sold seashells by the seashore.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Cindy, which is Jeanette's older sister, told the police officers that they were feeding people a lot of bullshit because in the newspaper of the town at the time, the police officers described Jeanette as an attractive young girl about 5 feet and 4 inches in height. She was 16, which is fucking gross that an old man would say, yeah, we're looking for an attractive young girl, 5'4".
Yeah, that is creepy.
That's weird.
I was just gonna be like, ooh, I'm 5'3.5". We're about the same height.
Yeah, that's kind of fucking gross for a police officer to be talking about a 16-year-old girl like that. Jeanette was not known as a hardcore drug user, and she would sneak alcohol here and there, but she was not known to do hard drugs or anything like that. She would occasionally drink and she would occasionally smoke, and that's it. And that's what all of her friends also had to say about her. One of Jeanette's friends actually said that when they had drank one time, that she had suggested that they should jump up and down so it could get into their bloodstream faster. And she was like, girl, that's not how it works.
People in the 70s be doing this stuff. What the helly?
Yeah, she was like, girl, that's not how it works. And she was like, and that already gives me the impression that she's just kind of like, just in the dark about these things. And one of Jeanette's friends also said that they would go to church together and volunteer to pass out Bibles for the church. She said, it was so funny. We thought it was hilarious. We were just little hippies trying to teach people about Jesus. And she said that Jeanette did the passing out Bibles more because she enjoyed being away from her parents. And it was noted that she enjoyed being alone just as much as she enjoyed being with her friends. And Cindy, her older sister, also said that Jeanette never looked happy, which means the girl had resting bitch face. And I get it because I literally do too. Some people at work ask me, they're like, "Are you mad?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh, you just look mad." I'm like, "No, that's just my face, bitch."
I don't know, you just must have RBF at work because I never really noticed.
I guess so.
You feel like
I'm a zombie.
like you turn into an NPC at work and then you leave and then you're your own person.
Honestly, I'd be freaking out the NPCs at my work. I'm like, I'm out there at work. Like, I'd be saying some wild shit.
I already know I'm weird. I'll be like, I'm weird. They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I know.
He goes, "Hey, that's not supposed to go on the top load," and I just blurt out of nowhere, I'm like, "You're a top load," and everybody.
Just something back that like, yeah, I got you, bitch. Does it make sense? No, but it made sense to me. Does that matter? That's all that matters.
Nick was like, "Bruh."
Something that where you don't even know what to say back. Girl.
I'm just ridiculous. But that's just what I be doing. But classmates noted Jeanette as being a kind and sensitive person, but they also said that she didn't take shit from anyone, and she would stand up for herself or her friends when necessary, and they all noted that this was the Italian in her. She had curly hair, and the style was straight hair in those days, so she was constantly brushing out her curly hair to flatten it because it was one of the most major insecurities that she felt. Because she didn't have like a flat iron for her hair. So she would constantly try to brush it out.
No. Poor girl. We've been dealing with, all of us girls be dealing with issues no matter the time. Even cave women probably like, ooh.
They're trying to like do their hair and makeup.
Or they're just trying to do like smell normal or something, not smell like.
They also noted, the classmates anyways, they noted that Jeanette was also the type of girl who would live in the moment. She never talked about any long-term goals or dreams with anyone. She was always concerned with what's going on this weekend, how can I prepare for the test next week, what can I do to impress this guy that I like. She was very much a in-the-moment kind of girl, which, to be honest, I find that beautiful. I think that being in the moment is a beautiful thing, and I feel like I wish that I could do it more. So, Jeanette DePalma, 16-year-old girl, Springfield, New Jersey.
I'm not laughing about her. I'm laughing just in general.
Are you laughing at me?
No, girl, I'm talking about Jeanette. I want people to know that I don't think this case is funny.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm just laughing. You're like, I like it.
Jeanette DePalma.
Let me know if that made the cut.
It might, honestly. Jeanette DePalma was known as a typical teenage girl, and typical teenage girls are known to be a little rebellious. And maybe this is what got her into the situation that she was in.
I was rebellious when I was 16. Not really like bad, but
Oh, I was rebellious.
I was emotional.
I was emotional and I was terrible. I look back at myself and I'm like, I was literally feral. At 16 years old, I was feral.
Okay, I was a pretty good kid. Okay, damn.
No, not me. And why was Jeanette considered a rebel? Her father was a traditional authoritarian figure who was an Italian dad who disapproved of her lifestyle. And to my friends who do have Italian dads, I do know them to be hard asses. So
Italiano.
So I know that's a stereotype, but I swear to God, it's like all my Italian friends have like a fucking hard ass dad. Honestly, it's funny, but like, I don't know. I can't relate. I'm not Italian. Apparently, she fought constantly with her parents over having a boyfriend who was much older than her. And she also fought about her curfew and her desire to do whatever she wanted. Yeah. At one point, she did run away from home, and she crashed at a friend's place before returning a few days later. Jeanette was dating a man who was in his 20s. Some reports say that he was 23, which alarmed her parents. This was in 1972. And it suggested that maybe the boyfriend had a criminal record of some kind. Maybe he was tied to the occult scene. Some witnesses claim, these are rumors by the way, that he bragged about witchcraft and took her to witchcraft shops. But again, this is small town rumors here. We really don't know if this is true or not. And it is noted that Jeanette did have a fascination with the occult. And by the occult, I mean tarot cards. Okay, I have tarot cards. I have a tarot card deck. Astrology. I'm an astrological bitch. And she also did seances, which seances were very taboo in the early 1970s by conservative suburbia. Mind you, I'd be doing tarot cards and astrology all day, but a seance? I have never done a seance. But
She's done it, don't let her lie to you.
honestly, I'm kind of thinking about
She's done it before.
maybe I should do a seance with ChatGPT. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, Becca.
Oh my god, I have the ringing in my ears now.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. As soon as I said that, my ears started ringing.
That means don't do it.
Oh my god, that's crazy. My ears ring at
That
random
means
times.
maybe don't do it. I'm thinking.
Probably not. I'm not gonna do a seance with ChatGPT.
Everybody, let her know.
That's fucking crazy. As soon as I said that, my ears started ringing. I have a
Listen,
deafness.
that is a thing. They say if you hear that, you don't ignore it. So, man, it's saying don't do it.
That's fucking nuts. Dude, I have a deafness in my left ear.
Or maybe it means do it.
I have a perforated hole in my eardrum or my tympanic membrane or something like that that has caused my deafness. I kept swimming when I was in high school when my eardrum had like burst, and then they told me not to swim, and then I just kept swimming, and now because it didn't heal right, now I have the hole in my ear and I can't get a hearing aid because I don't qualify for it because I wasn't fucking born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe she's not. I ain't paying $2,000.
Well, there you go.
I'll be deaf. But yeah, I have ear ringing.
See if they have
all
Klarna.
the time.
I'm just joking. You can pay $500 every 2 weeks, honey.
Honestly, I feel like I would be, I don't know, I'd be rough with it. A fucking hearing aid in my ear?
You'd be an aggressive girl.
I am an aggressive girl. All my nails fell off in like a week.
I just popped off my last one. I'm getting a new set this month.
I'm gonna wait until winter.
I'm not gonna do too big a long set because I'm going hiking and whitewater rafting, so we don't want to put any punctures into the raft because I'm gonna be like, like I've thought about it too because like my pointy nails will fucking cut. Like I've ripped my nails through jeans before. Like I'm pulling up someone's pants and my nails just go straight through.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, oh, and they're not my pants. Like a friend that like I take care of, I'll be pulling his pants up and I'm like, fuck, my nails just pop right through that bitch.
Oh my god.
So we're gonna get shorter and like square.
I'm not gonna get my nails done until like fall, like September, October.
I like to get them done for every trip.
I can't. I'm too rough.
Well, that's why you get them short. Thanks for listening to our raw, live, unedited podcast. Because if you listen to it on the
Fridays that it comes out,
it's gonna have everything in it that you see now. So
yeah. So this is the raw, unedited version, bitch. So
Jeanette DePalma.
Yes.
A case back in the 70s.
Yes, and back to Jeanette DePalma. Apparently, it was speculated that she did experiment with Ouija boards, which fueled the later rumors of the occult involvement.
When did it even start?
What?
Ouija boards. What do you think?
I would say they're like, probably.
For a while? Like a long time?
Ask Alexa.
Hey Alexa, how long have Ouija boards been around? It says that the Ouija board was created in 1890.
I thought that it would have been around a lot longer than that. That's kind of crazy.
So it's been like 125 or 130 years.
But
100.
but who knows what they used before that?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, so that made, because I was curious, I'm like, damn, if she's using the Ouija board, how
That's
long has it been
crazy.
around?
That's
There you
crazy.
go.
Which she might have, but apparently, this is why a cult says. Tripping on my words.
She's tripping.
This is I am tripping. I'm tripping on my words, bitch, not on anything else. Which back to it.
What? No, see, I'm like saying stuff, I'm like,
So the crime scene itself is why the occult is suspected here, bitch. I can't even speak. And her body was found on a makeshift, the police officers thought, was an altar of sticks, surrounded by animal bones, small crosses, and a strange carving. Positioning of her remains did not look like a natural death because she was face down.
nuts. Oh, I was saying like I was like shaping what she was laying in. I'm like, they believe it was like to look like it.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
That's what it said in one of the thingies. One of the newspapers, like the way it looked like. They said it wasn't like shaped like a normal coffin, but they believed it was like a type of burial area that they gave made like a sacral area. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but like this is why. So this is also why the investigation was getting so out of hand because all of these different media sources were writing down what they thought it was,
Yeah.
and then it was messing with the investigation, which is why it was never fucking solved. And also because the Springfield Police Department is incompetent at the time.
Well, they're messing with arms and stuff.
Yeah, while they're messing with the evidence, which people want to come back and say, well, the evidence was contaminated. Well, no shit, because the evidence was contaminated when the dog took away the arm. So it was already contaminated.
Well, there's the rest of the body.
Well, they ended up finding it.
Yeah.
But it's just the point of, like, people were saying, like, you know, with the police officer messing with the arm in the fridge, which...
Yeah, but it was wrapped up in something, right?
It was wrapped up in something, yes, but, okay, back to that story.
What the fuck was it wrapped in? Let's just ask that question. Was it wrapped in a plastic little, deli
some
paper?
sort of, like, plastic
or
shit.
saran wrap?
Yeah.
Ew. Well, because there's saran wrap or there's, the deli meat wrapping. The, thick little...
It was placed in, it was, an evidence bag, but they also put around it. Yeah. So, in 1972, which if you weren't around for this earlier, a police officer took the arm, which was found by a dog at an apartment complex, of Jeanette's body, and they had put the arm in the refrigerator in the break room of the police department because at the time, it's fucking 1972, they don't have the equipment necessary to handle this stuff. So, that's why they had to go get the arm. And this is not for my YouTube people, this is for my live people on TikTok. So, we're doing YouTube recording and live at the same time. So, if you want to catch us doing the lives, we typically record Sundays in the morning or early mid-noon. Sorry. We be trying to get it together. Anyways, back to Jeanette. It was also noted that her boyfriend had a dark reputation, suggesting that her boyfriend may have been involved in low-level occult practices, or maybe pretending that he was. One source claims that he would talk about curses, said that he knew how he could make people disappear. We thought he was full of it until Jeanette did. Which, again, small town. People talk in a small town, and people like to make up wild shit in small towns.
So, or maybe they speak in truth.
Honestly, no, because when I lived in a small town in Missouri, a lot of people said shit about me that was not true.
Yeah, I get that.
I lived in a very small town, less than
It's just like a job place. You'll say one thing to somebody, and then they just twist it around, and you'll hear someone say something to you, and I'll be like, that is literally not what I said.
You know, if you've lived in a small town, you'll know this, is that when you do something which is bad in a conservative town, such as making out with a boy in the back of a car, which is something that I used to do when I lived in a small town, and then I got caught doing that in the small town, what happened was people went around telling everybody that I was a SLUT and that I was doing what, and I was just making out with a boy, and I'm like 15 years
that
old
sucks
at the
being
time.
in that situation.
Yeah, and then like people would talk about me and said that I can't hang out with their kids because I'm a bad example and all this shit. And like meanwhile, my brain is like, I just kissed a boy. Like it's really not that deep, guys. But
People are freaking cray.
that's what happens when you live in a conservative town and people just like to make up shit out of proportion. And that's just
or
what
they're just
happens.
dramatic and they think everything's bad.
Yes. And that's exactly what happened in Jeanette's case. And investigators did find what they described. They, the incompetent police officers, mind you, described as a freshly carved symbol of a pentagram near her remains. The police dismissed it, saying that maybe it was some kids fooling around, that I don't know, maybe it had been there before, or maybe it hadn't. They couldn't determine. So all of this was creating mass speculation, and the real question is, was she really involved in the occult? Possibly, but I think that it's not that deep. I think that she was curious about the supernatural, just like all teens. Just, I'm not a teen anymore, but I'm still curious about the supernatural. I feel like I've always been. And I feel like there's no hard evidence out there that she was involved in the occult. I just feel like there's just not. Like, if she was, then it would be there. I feel like we wouldn't have to go searching for it from this satanic angle, which maybe the person who ended her life may have staged the scene to misdirect the police. And the tragic irony here is that Jeanette's rebellion, whether it was just her teenage defiance or something darker, may have put her in the wrong place at the wrong time. But her case remains unsolved to this day, and maybe the truth is buried underneath of the police incompetence and also spreading of sensational rumors. As the investigation progressed, suspicion fell on various individuals, and we are going to explore what these individuals' potential motives and connections to Jeanette will be, and we're going to present a range of theories without drawing any definitive conclusions, because you can make your own decision about the case, but we're just kind of, lay out all the theories.
Because there's so many, it's kind of like maybe there'll be so many that come together that are similar in context.
Yeah. What are you doing? Oh, you want to decline that shit.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to fix this shit.
The investigation of Jeanette DePalma and her death was plagued by rumors and urban legends and many conflicting theories, and one of the most frustrating parts of the murder has to be how maybe almost fantastical some of the truths can be turned into just straight up bullshit. And we have the satanic cult theories.
It comes with even nowadays, just like stories are always changed up, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like people at work be talking about other people like the second they leave the room, like that shit happens at my work. And I even tried to stand up for somebody who was being talked about, and then everybody wanted to come at me and be like, oh my fucking god, like don't even. And I'm just thinking like, I don't want people to spread rumors about people in front of me, like I don't want to be involved. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, I don't get it. I wouldn't want to be involved either. I don't like that. If someone's talking crap, I'm just gonna be like, yeah.
You should move it back a little bit.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Like back to where your vape is.
I am. I'm trying to figure it out. Popping off. Being a butt.
You keep popping off.
Yeah, I'm a pop off bitch.
So, the origins of the satanic cult theories come from the altar-like stick arrangement, animal bones, and the hex mark, which was noted in the pictures of the crime scene. Springfield rumored satanic activity, including a man known as the Wizard, who led rituals in the woods. We're going to get into him later. Jeanette had interest in tarot cards, Ouija boards, potentially Maybe her boyfriend was involved in the occult. And that's why this is such a complicated case, because the police dismissed legitimate leads by chalking up everything to satanic panic. And satanic panic was another word that was kind of coined during this time, because the word Jesus freak was also coined during this time. So if people called you a Jesus freak, that actually kind of originated from the 1970s, like late 60s, early 70s. Which is kind of crazy to think about, because
Jesus freak.
I used to be called that.
You did?
I had to go to public school wearing a skirt in like 4th grade.
Oh, people called you a Jesus freak?
Yeah, because I was wearing a skirt in public school. Yeah, my parents made me wear a skirt because I lived in a Christian home. But then
what does a skirt have to do with being a Jesus freak?
You're just marked as different if you're wearing a skirt at public school every day. You're just marked different.
But usually it just means, I guess you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, kids are cruel, and trust me, they were. And that's another topic for another day. But the police were dismissing leads and any witness who came forward with any occult claims because they were seen as unreliable and they were ignored. The rumor also was that her older boyfriend, who did have a criminal record, did do something to her, maybe as part of a ritual.
He got her all sweetened up, and then he was like, let's go for a walk out here.
It is possible because he was known to frequent a occult shop in Newark, and he had alleged to other people that he had knew how to cast a spell. Some witnesses say that maybe during an argument he had said something to Jeanette that was in a bad tone. Which, this is another theory that complicates the case because the police never actually pursued him as a subject, and this was due to lack of any physical evidence of him being there at the scene of the crime. His connection to, I guess, the occult muddied the waters because is he a killer or is he just a weird guy? And who is the Wizard? The Wizard is a local occultist nicknamed the Wizard who potentially could have lured Jeanette into a ritual and ended life for her.
And there was no leading suspect to him.
No. So he was never identified for who the Wizard is. Teens in Springfield whispered about secret gatherings that were going on in the woods in the quarry where she was found. I can't say words.
Okay, I can. I got you. I'm the spelling bee bitch.
Some claimed that the Wizard used her as an initiate to other followers. That's another small town speculation. This is why theories like this complicate the case, because there's no concrete evidence to support that he was tied to Jeanette's...
It's just like with any comment on TikTok. People are like, I think this happened.
Yeah, and then it just starts another rabbit hole of theories.
Of you thinking, did it?
Maybe rumors were diverting attention from the real suspects. Maybe the police were just thoroughly incompetent, which left a major gap in the case.
A lot of times there's been cases where policemen seem incompetent. So,
here's another rumor. This was like a real small town rumor. That Jeanette was end of life over a rug debt because she knew too much about something that her dad was doing in the mafia. Which, seriously, her dad was well off. And that's fine, because a lot of Italians at that time took pride in having a lot of money and having a nice house and having a big family. That was just the thing. But just because you have a good job and a nice house does not mean that you're in the mafia if you're Italian. That's totally stereotyping. But all these people in Jersey were like, yeah, this dude's part of the mafia. Yeah. And it's just fucked up because, no, he wasn't. Everybody who knows her dad was in no way, shape, or form was he involved in the mafia. That's just small town talking shit.
They just want to be a part of it. People want to be a part of something.
Yeah. And then,
even if it's not right information.
Yeah. And that's fucked up too. Like, just be like, that's totally stereotyping somebody. Like, just because he's Italian and has a lot of money, like, oh, he's in the mafia. Like,
that's fucked up.
No,
it's messed up.
No, bitch. Like, he's not in the mafia. And in the rise of the 1970s, we saw a rise in narcotics use in the New Jersey suburbs. People in school like to claim that Jeanette was experimenting with that stuff, but it's actually really not true because everybody who knows Jeanette know that she was not doing hardcore drugs or rugs. Sorry.
She was dabbling in the MJ.
Yes, and drinking some, as
She
most teenagers do. She was doing that, doing the thing. So, this is another thing that happened during the investigation. The police actually lost evidence. They lost the toxicology reports.
And that shit on purpose.
Other files went missing, and there were rumors that maybe a cop or a cop's relative could have been involved. Maybe. Honestly, I lean more towards that theory, personally. I do, and I will tell you why later. Also, there was the psychic vision of the woman Patricia Ruff. She said that she had a prophetic dream about Jeanette's body in the location, saying that she saw Jeanette resting at her resting place in a vision that led police to the quarry. And some believed that she knew too much or could have been involved or could have been genuinely psychic. Why did this also complicate the case? Because this added a supernatural layer and distracted the detectives from real work. If Ruff had real insider knowledge, the question is really why. Why would you know that that's where she was? I would look into that more. Like, why would you know where she is?
He had no reasoning.
But I do believe in psychics, though. I'm not saying I don't believe in psychics. But in the 70s specifically, I don't know.
I feel like a lot more things were less looked as real than those too, so you got to give that man a break. Mm-hmm. Because people who were gay, also
true.
It was very much hidden too. So just other things that are considered normal to us or is becoming normal, isn't.
Happy birthday!
Blew out the candle and I made your wish.
Other things that were wrong with this case is that the police focused on the wrong things. Witnesses were discredited. Evidence just suddenly vanished. Newspapers ran wild with satanic headlines, turning the case into an unsolvable crime because they're spreading rumors that they don't know are true. And Jeanette's case remains unsolved because the truth was buried, and the truth was maybe pursued by people who were not logical enough to comprehend what the truth could have been. The biggest mystery isn't who killed Jeanette DePalma, it's who fought hard enough to hide it.
Because her body wasn't found for a while. Obviously, people don't
6 weeks.
Obviously people don't go out that way often. Right?
Well, she was found on top of a cliff on top of, like, a mountainous area.
But it has said that people go there to, like, party or do
No, that was
certain
nearby.
Things.
Nearby, there was a field actually right next to Jeanette's house.
So, like, people went to that area, is what I'm saying. It's crazy.
No, not by Jeanette's house, no. So, Jeanette's house, there's, like, a field. And the field is where they would party. But this cliff specifically was actually by a house. And the house was a friend's house who she had went to previously to party.
Well, it also said somewhere, I don't know, like I said, all these could be not real, that they did the rituals there. The area that she was, like, it's known the animals were dead over in the area, too.
Who said that?
Just, like, one of the articles I was reading. Just, like, how, like,
okay.
They say how there was other indications that it was a place where things happened.
I didn't know that.
But, like you said, people create their own stories, and especially with this case, so it's hard to know what was what.
Oh my god, we might have to take a break here soon.
Okay.
My computer's at 30%. I'll try to get through as much as possible, and then we'll have to take a break and let the computer charge.
Okay.
So, the case takes a dark turn with the discovery of another young woman's body known as Joan Kramer. Joan Kramer's death shares many similarities with Jeanette's, raising concerns about a possible serial iller. You know what I'm saying? I've already said the word multiple times, but I know I shouldn't for TikTok.
A rare killer.
Yes.
Kirker.
The author, Jesse Pollock, compares two cases, saying that there are eerie parallels and maybe some dark implications for the investigation. The unsolved murder of Jeanette DePalma, 1972, and Joan Kramer, 1978, share chilling similarities, so much that researchers have speculated that maybe she was linked to the same person. Joan Kramer was 17 years old, found about 20 miles from Springfield, where Jeanette was found. Disappeared on June 25th, 1978, after leaving a friend's house. Jesus. Her skeletal remains were discovered 5 months later in a wooded area, and like Jeanette, her end-of-lifing was initially ruled as accidental, possibly drowning exposure, and there were links maybe to foul play, but the police were not open to it. Her clothing was actually neatly folded nearby. Like her shirt and her pants were like folded.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I wonder.
The similarities between the two cases are the bodies were found in remote wooded areas. Joan's body was also found with maybe ritualistic overtones, with carefully placed clothing that was not scattered, like in typical end-of-lifing cases. And there were also rumors that occult symbols were also found at Joan's case, although Joan's case had much less information. The police dismissed any foul play, and Jeanette's death was ruled as an accident despite the altar-like stick arrangement. Joan's death was noted as a drowning, although her remains showed no water damage, and in both cases, evidence was lost because it either disappeared or somebody freaking stole it.
Evidence was tampered with.
Absolutely.
Everywhere, and at that point, nothing's figured out. Nothing is figured out.
Both end-of-lifing cases occurred in the same decade within a 20-mile radius and is attributed to New Jersey's Highlands Illings. And some researchers, including Jesse Pollock, who is the author of the book that we are reviewing, suggest that maybe this connects to other unsolved end-of-lifing cases of other young women in the 70s and 80s.
Well, I feel like people could get away with a lot more back then. I mean, it's just very true, like with robberies of like a bank. When people did that stuff, you could just do it so much easier. Now you're fucking.
Yeah, because there was like no surveillance, and like you also had a hard time contacting, because you didn't have a phone.
Like,
so you'd have to
serial
go
killers got away with a lot more.
Oh, for sure.
Now, or like scamming and all that stuff.
Dangerous time.
Also, there was situations where you could get away with a lot more, like Wall Street, more scamming,
So the bigger picture is that there was possibly a New Jersey serial. It is possible, between other parallels from other cases with eerie details that are kind of similar, that is Annabelle Camino. Sorry. Annabelle Camino, also found in 1972, found in the woods in New Jersey, another unsolved case, who had Elizabeth Perry, 1974, the New York-New Jersey border. Same occult rumors going around here in this town as well. And this is why this matters, is because maybe these cases were connected. Maybe it would suggest a much larger organization that was involved, and maybe authorities failed to recognize that. Similarities between Jeanette DePalma and Joan Kramer are too stark to ignore. Without surviving evidence or police cooperation, the truth is never going to be known. So we have two girls, two deaths that look staged, two botched investigations. Coincidence? Or is it something way bigger than what the police even thought?
Probably.
I feel like
everything's always way bigger than what you think.
Honestly, I feel like the truth is always hiding in plain sight. That's what I think. You can't hide for long. You can't lie to anyone or anything for a long period of time without the truth coming out. And that is something that I have learned through life on my own. Yeah. You cannot fucking lie and lie and lie and then get away with it. And I have found that out either through myself or through other friends who have done the same thing to me. Like, the truth will come to light one day,
even
whether
if you don't want it
like
to.
it or not. And that's some dark reality shit.
That's life. Life's what you make it. That's life. Life's what you make it.
Yeah. So we also have an unexpected lead that emerged in the case from a local accountant. And one of the most puzzling angles of Jeanette DePalma's case involves a local accountant whose name surfaced years later, and this lead could have reshaped the investigation, but it was never properly pursued. Who was the accountant? His name was never officially released, but in Jesse Pollock's Death on the Devil's Teeth book, which we are summarizing for you today, sources refer to him as the respected Springfield businessman with possible ties to the occult. He worked as a financial advisor and accountant to the Union County. He was rumored to have dabbled in the occult, and some claimed that he hosted esoteric study groups that blurred into ritualistic activity. Allegedly, he had connections to Jeanette's older boyfriend, possibly through shared interests. How did he become a suspect, is the question, and a witness claimed that the accountant had drawn similar symbols in personal work notebooks. And carved near Jeanette's body was eerily close to something that looked like a pentagram. And in the late 70s, a jailhouse informant reportedly told police that the accountant had bragged about knowing what happened to that witch girl. And no formal interrogation followed this. Authorities dismissed it as prison gossip. Other rumors go that the accountant was either connected to the Wizard of the Woods or was him. But again, rumors. Who can substantiate?
Rumor has it, bitch.
Yeah. And as a pillar of the community, the accountant was not seen as a plausible suspect, and there was no direct link to him through DNA or fingerprints of the crime scene, and the investigators seemed to be hyper-focused on the satanic panic angle. The lingering questions are, was the accountant a critical lead or not? Could his rumored involvement in the occult maybe be linked to Jeanette in any way, shape, or form? I don't even know. I don't know what my gut's going with. I feel like I can't make a decision on this. Did his financial connections maybe shield him from being investigated? I would say possibly. There's small town politics where people get treated differently because of who they know.
People get dirty. People pay money. Bribery was a thing. Probably still is a thing.
And in a town obsessed with satanic cults, maybe the most dangerous person might have been the man who was balancing the books. Just a thought.
Well, he who controls it all controls what we see.
Mm-hmm. What the fuck?
What?
What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm just.
Oh my god. Don't put your feet up for the camera if they're not going to pay for it.
I just want.
She'll tease you. But.
Teasing anybody. You were curious about what I was doing.
Oh no, there are weirdos out there.
There's weirdos?
There's weirdos who like the feet.
Shit. People like other stuff being farted on. Like weird shit.
Oh my god.
I don't know that for sure, but I bet there's all kinds.
I
No, wait,
bet you
being
do.
shitted on.
Oh. R. Kelly? R.
Some
Kelly.
people, like, I literally think I've seen someone talk about how they got their chest.
Oh my god.
Where I heard it, it might have been Tumblr. I don't know. So.
Being shitted on?
Do you like to be shitted on?
Oh my god, okay. What was that song? They shitted
on
on?
them by Nicki Minaj.
Shitted on
These
him.
bitches is my sons. If I had a dick, I would pull it out and piss on them.
Oh.
Yeah. It's called, I don't know, it's like, all these bitches is my sons. I forget what it's called. I think it's literally called Shitted on 'em by Nicki Minaj. Put your number twos in the air if you did it on 'em. Maybe that's what she's talking about it.
Yeah, honestly.
Man, I just did it on 'em. It's called Did It On 'em. D-I-D it on.
Oh my god. Maybe she really did.
Did it on 'em. Now that I really think about it, I'm like, first I thought she was shitting on everybody, like, oh, look, I'm better than you. But I'm like, what if she really is shitting? Because that's what they wanted her to do.
God, I'm scared.
It's not like it's on her chest.
Oh.
Some girls talked about that.
I'm scared.
Take this out of the podcast.
Maybe later. I'll think about it.
God. K. BK.
This is too funny.
Oh my god. This is not about a comment.
I know, but we just had to bring that out there that we shitted on him. So listen to Nicki Minaj if you don't know what we're talking about.
We can play Alexa real quick, see if she'll put it on. I'm just kidding. No, we're not doing it.
My mic won't even catch it.
We could create our own TikTok dance to that song.
If it's even out there.
No, we make our own.
Oh my god, yes.
Like, own dance.
Yes.
Like, shit it on them. Pump the hip up.
Yeah.
Shit it on them. Pump the hip up. Put your number twos in the air if you did it on 'em. And then we switch around in a circle.
Yes.
And then we go, whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, I already have it.
We really speed it up too.
Yeah. And then we go in a circle together and we keep switching back and forth.
And we like put the phone in the center at the ground.
We can do that too. We can do different parts, like whoop, 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 whoop.
Yes. I'm so down.
And then just put our foot down and like change.
I'm down.
I get excited.
Mm.
Hey, it's just like when I talk about my vacations.
Yeah. You're just a passionate
I'm
person.
just a girl
Yep.
in the world.
Same. Back to Jeanette DePalma, as we were discussing before, between the late 1960s and the early 1980s. She is among at least 5 other young women who were also found in wooded areas in New Jersey. And these were also other cases that were just miles from where Jeanette DePalma's body was discovered. These cases are collectively known as the Bergen County Girls in the Woods, and they do share eerie similarities between Jeanette's death and raising questions about possible, maybe, serial killers in the North Jersey area. Key victims include Joanne Delardo, age 16, also found in New Jersey. She was found suffocated. We have Patricia Ann Vaughan, found in 1970, 19 years old. It was assumed that she may have been SA'd before she was end of life. And then we have Jean Ann Healy in 1971, 17 years old, found in Ramapo Mountain State Forest, and it was speculated that maybe she had been very physically hurt, if you know what I'm saying. And then there was Kimberly Karen Byers in 1978, 17 years old, also found with wounds to the throat. Barbara Ann Brown, 1972, 17 years old, also found in the woods, also found with with marks around the throat. So the shared patterns is that they were all teenage girls between the age of 16 and 19 years old. So this is actually in total talking about Joan's case and Jeanette's. That makes 7 teenage girls between the ages of 16 and 19 years old, all found in or near wooded areas, and most cases were poorly investigated with lost evidence. So geographically, it's very close to the time frame and the location of what happened with Jeanette. Similar victimology. We have, they were around the same age. And I don't know, maybe the predator had a specific target, and that was young women. Maybe the occult elements were straightforward, or maybe the occult elements were to throw off the police, and maybe that's exactly what happened. It's totally possible.
It just sucks that it was so long ago that it's just always going to be so hard to really have real straight answers.
Mm-hmm.
Because not many people are like even alive or old, young to tell these type of like recall, you know what I mean, if they were in that situation or around at that time.
You know, I've listened to videos while I was researching this of people using spirit boxes to talk to Jeanette, but I feel like spirit boxes are, which if you want to go down that rabbit hole, so interesting. I literally told Eric I want one, and he goes, "You better not buy one." A spirit box is like a radio thing that like flips radio channels like really, really fast, and it's speculated that spirits can speak through those radio waves, and you can hear voices and people talking.
Oh yeah, just frequencies. Makes
But
sense.
I feel like if you talk to like a Ouija board and you're like trying to like talk, like, you know, ask questions like to your mom or to your brother or like somebody like close to you,
It's not gonna be what
I feel like you're gonna be getting like a dark manipulative spirit that's taking on their personality. The police did fail to even find these similarities in the 1970s between these cases, and no DNA or forensic coordination was used during these cases because it was at its infancy in 1972 and through the 1980s anyways. The 1980s is when it started picking up and becoming better, but at the time they really had very limited resources. True crime historians do believe that there was a traveling predator, possibly a trucker or construction worker, along Route 17, I-80, and Route 287, which are major New Jersey highways that connected all of these crimes. So that is an alternative theory. Another alternative theory is that maybe it was a hunter deep in the woods who also was somebody who was dabbling in the occult. There was a lack of task force in the 1970s. There was occult tunnel vision because there was the whole Jesus freak and satanic scene that was going on. So it was kind of hard for them to see past the stigma of trying to, I guess, listen to media and or political pressures to solve cases. There's also a lot of lost evidence, and files were missing and or degraded. In 2010, New Jersey State Police re-examined the Bergen cases for DNA links.
Oh, I'm just like sitting here. I'm sorry, he was like fucking with my foot.
Her cat is trying to bite her
I'm sorry,
foot.
I can't even focus. I'm like.
Had investigators in 1972 looked beyond Springfield, they might have spotted a chilling pattern, one that could save lives, but instead, we just are left with a what if this criminal history, I guess, of this whole crime.
Basically, there's no real good evidence, I'd say.
There really is not, because they didn't do a good job of trying to figure out what the fuck was going on.
I mean, it didn't seem like people really cared that much. Her search party was very minimal.
Yeah.
And it was right by her house.
Well, it was very minimal, but that's because they didn't have a big task force. It was a small town.
But other people are supposed to help and volunteer. That's the whole point of...
That they had firefighters helping.
No, other people, like regular people, like in a search and rescue. It's like normal for people to volunteer and join in. Like the community did not do anything, did not help.
So after all of this, we realize that sometimes the truth isn't hidden, it's just buried underneath a mountain of lies. So, despite extensive investigation, putting quotes around that, extensive investigation, no arrests were made and the case goes to trial. I'm totally fucking it up here. I can't read script. Sorry, guys.
What's in Becca Sackety?
Yeah. There was no trial. And that's kind of the joke here. Despite extensive investigation, there was no trial. And in Jeanette DePalma's case, because her murder was never solved, no suspect could be officially charged. And despite all of the circumstances surrounding her death, maybe it was ritualistic, maybe it was staged for that reason, to look ritualistic, but authorities never identified or prosecuted a murderer. No arrests were made because there were multiple suspects, but there was no physical evidence to tie anyone to the crime. Key witnesses give conflicting statements. The investigation was botched, and the crime scene was contaminated by the dog, so we already knew that from the get-go.
Because what was the dog doing before?
They just let the dog out at the apartment complex.
But I'm saying, like, did it lick other pieces of the body?
Well, they could have even, messed with it even more.
Yeah, exactly, and you'll never know that.
And the impact of Jeanette's death on her family and the community is a profound one. There were long-term effects from this case, and the aftermath of the unsolved murder shattered her family. It also haunted many investigators who basically, they didn't lose their lives specifically, they just kind of lost, like, what their life was before the incident.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose someone in the community, even if it wasn't your child, if it's a small community, everybody feels it.
And there's a lot of what ifs in this case, and her siblings, one of her siblings says they didn't just end of life my sister, they end of lifed my family's life too. And that's it's really fucked up to think about, families who lose children or other family members within the family. Like, that's, no justice, no closure. You're dealing with feeling broken and confused and kind of like left in the dark forever.
It's just like with the Chicago ones with the parents not getting the answers or whatever. What was it?
The Atlanta.
The Atlanta ones, yeah, that's what I meant.
The parents have an idea of what they think happened, but they'll never really know.
It just sucks not having an answer. I think having an answer to know, even if it's not like the gruesome details, just like knowing the perpetrator or whatever was figured out, but to never know is just the ultimate torture / own hell.
And this case still matters and is relevant because it teaches us a few things. And that is, if the police fail to actively look into all of the leads and to have the competency to, I guess, conduct an investigation thoroughly, maybe this case would have been solved. But that's just another what if. Another thing that we have learned through this is rumors can bury the truth. And a family's pain is something that can last for not just one generation, but, multiple generations of, people remembering the loss of a loved one. And it's not easy, but some murderers don't want to end of life one person. Maybe they want multiple people because maybe there was possibly a serial murderer in New Jersey during this time. But this is just another speculation.
And obviously that person never got caught, so there's really, these are, I would say, speculation and give people peace of mind to have an answer when there isn't an answer.
I agree with that.
Because at the end of the day, people will create things because if there isn't an answer, they're going to start trying to find their own, even if it's not right or wrong, but it makes people have peace of mind to have an answer. It's just like, even with like, God and everything, like if there wasn't like religion, what would people go to? Like it just, with everything, people need something, give it reason.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like religion, like people would freak the fuck out if they didn't have religion, if it wasn't a real thing.
Yeah.
Keeps people to believe in something.
Yeah, it's like people like want to be in the dark because ignorance is bliss.
Yep.
We do have a new pressing detail in this case, though, and the author of the book Death on the Devil's Teeth did uncover in 1970s police reports statements from multiple witnesses saying that they saw Jeanette with an older man near the quarry days before her death, and their statements were never followed up. One officer admitted off record, "We were told to focus on the cult angle. Anything else was dismissed and buried." So that's a new development.
So someone definitely wanted it to seem that way. So
yeah,
that's weird. That's
and
weird.
I feel like these are my biggest unanswered questions in all of this. Who was the wizard in the woods? Like, who is doing occult rituals in the woods known as the wizard? That was never tracked down. They never tracked down that person. Jeanette's bones were tested, and the toxicology reports were lost. And the rumors are saying that maybe a politician had their hands on it.
I mean, anybody who has money and power can make things disappear. We've all learned that, allegedly.
And the accountant who was known to host esoteric gatherings was never really questioned. So I think that the truth is often hidden in plain sight. So I have to speculate here that I think that Jeanette's murderer was somebody who the authorities protected. And I feel like that's why they sped to accidental end-of-lifing. I think that that's why files were missing. I think that's why witnesses were not pursued. I think that that's why powerful people in New Jersey wanted this case to be closed. And I feel like the real horror isn't that Jeanette's case isn't unsolved. It's that somebody made sure that it would stay that way.
And yeah, I mean, it comes with all these cases, like the Diddy case. Power is real. And
if you have power,
it can be used for bad, very bad things.
So, while Jeanette's story is undeniably haunting, remember that mysteries like these remind us to question things, to dig deeper, and to keep pushing for the truth, even if it's many decades later. Who knows, maybe with renewed interest in the case, modern investigative tools, maybe one day the answers will be found. But until then, stay curious, stay skeptical, and thank you for joining us on this journey. We're going to catch you next time. Remember also to keep it chatty,
keep it nice, and keep it sweet,
because
we will not be
keeping it short, bitch.
We love you guys.
Thank you for your support. And we are going to end it on that note.
Ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta.